requesting all the dignitaries to just. And I think these books are available in the market for anyone who would like to read up more on this.
All of you look there, smile, come closer. If you smile, all of you. Nice.
Thank you everyone for joining us on stage.
Say up. So wait. Look here, please, sir. Say up. यहाँ देखिए. Ma'am, sir, please look here. Center. Yeah, sir.
Thank you everyone, all the dignitaries here for joining. Geeta Shishu to be seated here because you will be adding on to our knowledge with the book discussion, and the rest of the dignitaries to please go and be seated on their seats. Thank you so much.
And for Christians and for all humanity, it is a day of hope. I'm not sure why Hussain why chose today for this book discussion. Was it very deliberate choice of the day? I think light in the auditorium can remain. लाइट चालू रखना, बंद नहीं करना. हम सबको एक दूसरे को देखना है. So he chose this day very consciously. I'm not sure. It's a day of hope, renewal. So today this is an apt day to discuss this book, where we'll bring out what is there in the book and hope that all the analysts whom Neha has introduced to us, the great audience that we have here, has introduced the entire panelists to us. We have a great panel, and without further ado, I'll shortly go into the book discussion, but I wanted to bring out one more aspect of Sir Adamjee Peerbhoy. The legacy which I think I and reformist Boras are continuing, that legacy. But what was your first impression? How did the book come across to you?
See, as a reader, the book is very charming, to see the least, because many times books are very heavy in text and they don't convey. They means they are heavy in text. So this book is on one hand very attractive, very charming, and while going through the book you feel how much pain the writer must have taken, because the type of beautiful photographs which remind you of those lovely times when things, such simple things which are there in the book. Of course, train is the peak point of the whole book, looking at that. But the collection of photographs, collection of materials, at the same time, giving the in-depth understanding of the life of Sir Peerbhoy was really very impressive as far as I am concerned as a reader.
You are a big philanthropist yourself. We know you likewise served.
Then came followed with a book. Adamjee Peerbhoy was not a name which was hidden ever. I belong to the family, Khandwani family, which had first navigation company who used to take voyages to Hajj. Agbotwala were my in-laws who were having 99 ships. So these are all great philanthropic people who have come in line. And while discussing and in informal discussion with Hussain Bhai, heard so much about, in detail about Adamjee, Sir Adamjee. It was, I can only say, if there is a will, there is a way, otherwise it's an excuse. That man had a will. There was no excuses. And it has given us so much inspiration out of that. And this legacy should continue. It is not a history. I would always say this is an inspiring thing. It is never closed. This will continue. And I pray to Allah this will continue within the generations and to everybody together.
Became Bombay because of contribution of not only Sir Adamjee Peerbhoy but many philanthropists from all communities, from Parsi community, from Khoja community, from Hindu community, Shankar Shet, Jagannath Shankar Shet that we know. He contributed in many ways, building infrastructures, contributing towards engineering, etc. etc. So the Bombay that we know today is multilingual, multicultural, multi-religious, and since hundreds of years we have learned to live in peaceful coexistence. Of course, there are people who disturb this peace, people who want to claim Bombay for only one community, and all that will happen, but yet Mumbaikars, Bombayites, whatever you call, will remain united, and we carry on this legacy of Sir Adamjee Peerbhoy and all other philanthropists that have contributed towards Mumbai. Rajiji, I would like to ask you, you have read, the books actually, this book is in nature of history. There are books where academicians meticulously document, check, cross-check, they go to archives, and those are academic history books. Then there is oral history tradition. Then there is family history tradition. I have read book about Tayyabji family. I was referred. They sent a book to me for reference. It was fascinating history of Tayyabji family.
First of all, thank you so much, Irfan Bhai and Hussain Bhai, for inviting me here. It's an honor to share the platform with all of you. So I think this is in the category of family history. It has a very affectionate quality. It feels like you're looking at somebody's family album, like a memorial, memorabilia collection. So that makes it very charming. For me, what really jumped up at me was innovation and entrepreneurship. Not just philanthropy. See, because philanthropy can be just that, endlessly people remain in a poor state and you keep feeding them. Actually, that's charity, and charity and philanthropy are quite different. In philanthropy, you try to change the conditions, and therefore people are elevated in their material well-being and you don't need handouts. That should be the ideal, model of philanthropy. And here, I think this is what is the story here, where, of course, there are situations in which people have to be helped in a charity format because that's their reality in that particular moment, like the orphans, but who are described in the film also. That the main purpose even of that is to empower them so that they rise above the need for either charity or philanthropy. You know, in English the common saying is, don't give a man fish, teach him to fish. And I think that is partly what is happening here. But the most fun part for me was I've been on that train 2-3 times and I've really enjoyed it. And I was so thrilled to finally have the story of how the train happened. And you know, really, the film is very nice, but I want to again overemphasize it, even if it's overemphasizing, what an achievement it was. See, he starts building it in what, 1907, right? 4, sorry. For 7 it is completed. Thank you. You know, that is around the time that the Wright brothers managed to get the first plane in the air. Think about it. So that's the kind of technology that he had to deal with. Okay, I know this is not a very great mountain and all that. It's still the lower ends of the Western Ghats. But still, look at that story about the snakes. You see, so when they started to build, the story is there in the book, you will see it later. They disturbed naturally the forest, and some of it they had to dynamite. Now, lots of snakes came out who were happily living, you know, embedded in that. So dealing with that, it is a lot of both technological, environmental, you know, क्या जोखिम हम कहते हैं ना हिंदी में. And so really it was an enormous project. Of course, the actual project is being run by his son, but with the blessings and the finance provided by Adamjee. And the other very fascinating detail that I picked up on the theme of philanthropy, see, I always knew that the Peerbhoy family had built the first bridge across what we call Mahim Causeway. See, now we take it for granted, no? We go from Mahim to Bandra. There's a simple road, but 120 years ago, or maybe it will be 125 now, you had to get into a boat and cross this creek, Michi River. And so I knew that the Peerbhoy family had built that bridge. What I didn't know is that Lady Peerbhoy made it a condition to the city government, and from the British she took a condition that at no point would a toll be put on that bridge. Now this is, you know, the kind of visionary far-sightedness that the film also referred to, where you do create a public resource, and then you make sure that it is really available to every last person.
Sir Adamjee Peerbhoy, Matheran Railway, and something about it. When you read the book, how enriched you are about his life, and how did Sir Adamjee Peerbhoy come to you after reading this book?
First of all, Irfan, thank you so much for thinking of me even as a replacement. I am a poor replacement for Mr. Gandhi, but of course his foreword is there in the book, so you will get to read what he has to say. And of course it's very difficult to say no to Irfan, unfortunately. But the second reason is that I really was fascinated by Sir Adamjee Peerbhoy, who I knew very little about beyond the Matheran Railway. And I think it is really a reflection of the situation for most of us who live in Bombay, most of us, who have heard of him but know nothing more beyond what we've heard of. And the first thing that struck me when the book came to me was the title, which says A Forgotten Philanthropist of the 19th Century. And I read the book and I thought to myself that the word forgotten is actually wrong. It should have been, you know, a philanthropist who was erased. And I find that something that I'd really like to talk to all of you about, and I think this book gives us that opportunity. There is a lot of erasure of history, and there is a lot of erasure of the achievements of people who have built this city and who have been responsible for all the various building blocks of the city. And I'm very disturbed about the fact that at one level, you know, there is erasure because it's systemic in many ways. You have, I think our school books don't tell us anything about the history of Bombay. I can't recall any chapter or anything. There's one line in Bombay's history, about Bombay and how it was given as a dowry. But beyond that, there's very little information about the people who made Bombay and who really built it. I was fortunate enough to cover the Bombay Municipal Corporation, and I used to go off and see the building, and I did a story on the architecture of the Bombay Municipal Corporation office, which was really beautiful. I went right up to the turrets, and when I looked down, I saw this figure that you see right out opposite BT. And nobody knew what it was, and it's only when you see from the top of the turrets that you realize it's a cornucopia. It's a woman holding a cornucopia, and a cornucopia is really a very, it comes from British classical architecture, the Indo-Saracenic style and all of that. But it's actually about a bountiful basket of goods, and it's full of fruits and amazing riches, which is spilling over. And that really is, what Bombay is, and what we are seeing destroyed before us. Actually, a lot of this history, a lot of the city is definitely going through a lot of change. And I'm thinking of the fact that while at one level we do celebrate heritage, what Sir Adamjee Peerbhoy did with this railway and with several other institutions that he did build up, is create a lot of living heritage. And it is that living heritage that we are today looking at through this book and revisiting through this book. And like you said, yes, it does seem a little like family memorabilia, but it's not so much that. It's also a story of the city. It's also a story of the vision he had. And I think that vision was incredible for a person of that time, and coming from this very, very humble, beginnings, that he was a hawker on the city streets, and then built his own fortunes and his family's fortunes, but also saw to it that he built the fortunes of the city in many ways. And that is really incredible. There are many things I've found, very interesting in the book, and I think I can go back to it in the rest of the discussion, which I feel would require a lot more work. So I hope this is a starting point. I hope the book is really a starting point for researchers and for people to delve more into this kind of history, because it's absolutely essential.
My intentions and my acceptance towards and being a custodian, and always the will to pay back to the society. So that a person has to be within. He may be of any religion, but definitely every religion says peace, humanity and everything. Of course that add to it, but one has to be a good human to it. That in this one line I can sum up. I have to be a good human to practice my own religion well.
Religion is abused for political goals, which are very negative for them. And these things come mainly from morality of religions. Basically, I'll go to the extent of saying that humanism, which is a core of the religion, does promote the feelings of giving and feelings of sharing the pain of fellow beings. Means that is a minimum, but to do something better for society, it is a morality aspect of the religion which will be related to that.
It's continuing, which is trying to continue, and which is continuing legacy of Sir Adamjee Peerbhoy. They organize religious functions, as we saw in the film also. Hussain cleaned the turbat of Sir Adamjee Peerbhoy. Every Muharram there is gathering, wires, religious functions, religious activities which are continuing, as well as the English school in Matheran, orphanages. They continue to benefit from that. From 100 years they could do to continue the legacy of philanthropy. Of course, they are doing, running the schools, orphanages, feeding the poor wherever needed, organizing religious activities according to Bohra faith, all that they are doing. What would you recommend that Sir Adamjee Peerbhoy, we can help them get some ideas, and of course finally it will be for Sir Adamjee Peerbhoy Trust to accept those ideas or not to accept those ideas. They may be practical, they may not, but still, I mean, we can give some ideas to them. What would you, beginning from Geeta?
That's really a difficult question, and it's not fair to have me start this thing. It's not very easy to suggest what people can, what foundations like this can do. Partly because there is so much that needs to be done, and I really don't know where to begin. Where does one pick from? And this obviously this foundation is already doing a lot of very, very good work in terms of education and in terms of, I think, helping poorer people to be able to live their lives, at least ease their lives in some way. I'm passionate about environment, along with, of course, my work on free speech and freedom of expression. So there is something that they can do to continue to preserve the environment, especially because Mathiran is such an amazing example, and the work that has already been done there is so unique really. There is no other place like that in the entire world, which is free, card free, and absolutely amazing. If they can work towards environment, I feel that would really be some huge contribution for future generations, which is what Sir Adamjee Peerbhoy always thought of anyway.
Foundation may be doing a lot of work, but this foundation has a very big asset, the characteristic of Adamjee, Sir Adamjee. I think that needs to be spread out, the awareness, and Madam rightly said, the youth, the youngsters has to be involved into it. We have to get in that humanity part into it, and I guess medical work, education work, this all the foundation can take care. We should let people know that these type of people have built legacy through humanity and built a city, and if we could only touch 1% of 7 billion people, I think we can achieve wonders and more Adamjee could be created. Okay.
But what Rajni was saying about working with young people, about trying to understand what is humanism, इंसानियत क्या है, इंसान के रूप में मेरा मतलब क्या है. If we can devise some programs like that for younger children to even teenagers, that will be of course wonderful. Second thing which disturbs me, that today's major issue is that hate is being spread left, right and center. Very difficult to combat. Whether some philanthropic work can be devised where inter-religious communal harmony can be promoted through education or through festivals, common celebration of festivals, where we can communicate the ideas of being Indian, being human in a way which can promote the amity amongst us. Because what really worries me is that this, as I think you use the word, we should rebuild bridges and not the walls. The walls of hatred have become very strong, are becoming stronger, and we have to make the bridges of love. So that work, how it can fall, whether it can fall under philanthropy, I don't know, but I am obsessed about that work only. But if some inter-religious programs, festivals, celebration of common things amongst young people and children, so some programs which attract them towards that, and also give them the value that it is not that my religion is the only one which is great, but there are others also who have equal good moral values. So that may probably Adamjee Bhai's work in today's context may be most relevant. Thank you very much.
Having seen Adamjee with all the achievements, Adamjee Peerbhoy with all the achievements, आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे? I mean, one thing that you could kind of write from.
Sir, Adamjee Peerbhoy was a great philosopher. deeply inspired by religion, like his religion. He was a Shia Muslim, a Bohra Shia Muslim, deeply inspired by his religion. They were almost all Muslim for orphans, for poor, wherever people face disasters, he would provide relief to disaster affected people. He ran a number of schools, 4,000 students studied in the schools, and from over 100 years, those schools are continuing, orphanages are continuing. He set aside his wealth for all this great philanthropic work. In this great philanthropic work, his idea was not charity. He worked with empathy for people who needed. He was serving not only the poor and the needy, he was serving God around us. The concept of, in Hinduism, there is concept of Charitra Narayan, service of poor is service of God. In Islam, there is a similar concept, and so with that inspiration, we work. I think people like Sir Adamjee Peerbhoy, philanthropists from other religions, all other religions, have contributed towards a peaceful Mumbai, and the way we see Mumbai and Bombay at that time was constructed by not only the city management, by the government, but also great philanthropists like Sir Adamjee.
आपका जुड़ाव पीरभॉय फैमिली के साथ काफ़ी समय से रहा है। अगर आप कुछ भी बता पाएँ कि ये कैसे एसोसिएशन स्टार्ट हो गया, कुछ अच्छी मेमोरीज आपको
क्योंकि अकबर पीरभॉय जो थे, आदमजी पीरभॉय एक बहुत ही रिनॉन थे, एक आइकॉन। इनके बारे में तो हम सुनते आ रहे थे, बट कुछ कपल ऑफ ईयर्स से मैं हुसैन भाई के रास्ते में हूँ, और वही उनकी लेगेसी पे मैं इनका तरीका देख रहा हूँ बात करने का, और सेम जो आ रहा है कि उनका जो विजन था, उनका जो फिलॉन्थ्रफी की तरफ ध्यान था, जैसा इन्होंने भी फाउंडेशन एक बनाया, तो सेम इट्स इन द DNA, इट्स द ब्लड। और ये ऐसा नहीं होता है आदमी अपने वी हैव टू डू इट। एक तो थुकम की तासीर और एक सोबत का असर, तो इनको वो भी था, DNA में भी था, और इन्होंने एक चूज़ किया कि नहीं, मेरे को भी ये लेगेसी कंटिन्यू करनी थी। तो हैट्स ऑफ टू हिम। एंड जो आज हम लोग इधर आए, इनके बुक की ओपनिंग में मैं इनसे खाली एक ही रिक्वेस्ट किया हूँ कि ये इंसान से हमारे को एक ह्यूमैनिटी का प्लेटफॉर्म मिला है, सर आदमजी पीरभॉय से एक फिलैंथ्रोपी का उनका एक मिला है, एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप का मिला है, एक उनका विजन देखने मिला है। तो ये जो जितना भी ज़्यादा अवेयरनेस कर सके और आज के जनरेशन को बता सके, तो और भी कई आदमजी बन सके।
Ram sir, thank you for gracing this beautiful event. Sir Adamjee started with 5 rupees and ended up touching the lives of millions. If there's one thing that the youth of today can learn from him,
देखिए, सर आदमजी पीरभॉय से सबसे बड़ी बात जो सीखते हैं वो ये कि जीवन केवल खुद के स्वार्थ के लिए नहीं होना चाहिए। हम समाज का भाग हैं, और समाज की बेहतरी के लिए जो भी कर सके, जिस भी रूप में कर सके, वो करना चाहिए। तो जैसे ये फिलैंथ्रोपिस्ट जो थे, उन्होंने इतना बहुत महत्वपूर्ण काम किया। सैनिटोरियम का देखिए, जो अभी कोविड के समय भी हॉस्पिटल्स आए, तो ये खुद के पैसे को खुद का न समझ के, या उसका खुद का उपयोग के साथ साथ समाज की बेहतरी कैसे हो सकती है, वो उन्होंने जो किया, मेरे ख्याल से वो अद्वितीय। दूसरी बात, जिस प्रकार का कल्चर उन्होंने इस शहर में डाला, उस कल्चर के कारण यहाँ अलग अलग धर्म के लोग, अलग अलग भाषाओं के लोग, अलग अलग संस्कृतियों के लोग बहुत शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से रहे। मैं मानता हूँ कि ये आदमजी पीरभॉय और उनके जैसे लोगों ने जिस प्रकार की बम्बई की नींव रखी, ये उसी कारण है कि बॉम्बे इतना एक कॉस्मोपॉलिटन शहर बन सका। इसमें खैर कुछ बहुत ख़राब चीज़ें हुई, और उसके बावजूद इस शहर की जो एक एकता है, विविधता में एकता, वो उसको दर्शाती है। और ये भी हमें सिखाती है कि
जैसे आदमजी पीर भाई ने शहर के विकास के लिए किया, समाज की समस्याओं के लिए किया, हमने अपने जीवन में आगे ऐसा करना चाहिए कि हमारा समाज उससे बेहतर बन सके।
हुसैन सर, बहुत बहुत मुबारकबाद आपको। आपने वापस मतलब इतनी बेहतरीन एक किताब हमारे समक्ष लाए हैं। जितनी चर्चा आदमजी साहब की होनी चाहिए, मल्टीपल उन्होंने ऑर्फनेजेस बनाए, अस्पताल बनाए, उतनी चर्चा होती नहीं है। तो आप सरकार से कैसे दरख्वास्त करना चाहेंगे कि इस नाम को और उजागर किया जाए?
ये बहुत ही लॉन्ग अवेटेड हमारी फैमिली की सबकी विश है कि सर आदमजी पीरभॉय का नाम फिर से जागरूक होना चाहिए। जो काम उन्होंने किया है, जो जिस वक्त फिलैंथ्रोपी का मकसद भी नहीं पता था, किसी को नाम भी नहीं पता व्हाट इज़ फिलैंथ्रोपी, उस वक्त उन्होंने किया। और आज हम लोग को बुरा लगता है कि उनके नाम का बॉम्बे में कहीं पर कुछ भी चीज़ नहीं है। इनफैक्ट मैंने एक बार पहले गवर्नमेंट से लिखा भी था 2007 में कि उनके नाम से एक पोस्टल स्टैम्प इश्यू होनी चाहिए। तो उनके नाम से तो नहीं हुई, लेकिन माथेरन ट्रेन की इंजन के ऊपर एक फ़ोटो आया जो हमारी इंजन थी, जिसको हम लोगों ने जर्मन से लाया। वो इंजन का फ़ोटो के साथ में पोस्टल स्टैम्प बना। अभी मेरा फॉलोअप ऐसा है माथेरन, मैं इनके साथ में कर रहा हूँ, गवर्नमेंट के साथ में करना चाहता हूँ कि कहीं ना कहीं इनके नाम को कोई ना कोई रास्ते को किसी को इनका नाम देना चाहिए। मेरे पास एक चीज़ है कि जो पीरभॉय पैलेस जो था, जो इनका 20 साल की उम्र में उन्होंने जो बनाया था, और 20 साल की उम्र में मलबार हिल के ऊपर अपने खुद के खर्चे से पूरा पीरभॉय पैलेस इस्टेब्लिश करना, इट्स अ बिग थिंग, वेरी बिग ऑपरेशन। तो वहाँ पर एक ग्रैहम बेल के नाम का रोड बना हुआ है, और ऑफकोर्स मिस्टर ग्रैहम बेल तो बहुत बड़ी हस्ती है और ये होना चाहिए। लेकिन जैसे हमारे सब फॉरेन में ब्रिटिश के नाम जा रहे हैं और कहीं पर आ रहे हैं, तो वो है, या फिर साइन धारावी के ऊपर जो लार्जेस्ट टैनरी थी हमारे इन द होल ऑफ एशिया, तो अभी जैसे साइन धारावी का जो टी जंक्शन है, इट इज़ नॉर्मली नोन एज टी जंक्शन बिकॉज रास्ते दो क्रॉस होते हैं, तो उसको नाम दे सकते हैं सर आदमजी पीरभॉय चौक या आदमजी पीरभॉय जंक्शन। ये एक रिक्वेस्ट रहेगी हमारी गवर्नमेंट से, और मैं चाहूँगा कि मीडिया के जरिए से ये बात थोड़ी ज़्यादा फैले।
हम भी यही दुआ करते हैं। थैंक यू सो मच। We saw this beautiful AV where we got to know some really tall achievements about Adamjee Peerbhoy. If there's one thing that really touched you, what was that about this beautiful personality?
हिंदी में बोलूँ?
हाँ जी बिल्कुल, किसी भी भाषा में।
मुझे लगता है सार तत्व जो है इंसानियत के लिए प्रेम, और दूसरों के लिए, वो आपके रिश्तेदार हों या ना हों, आपके कौम के हों या किसी और कौम के हों, उनके लिए भलाई करना और उनकी तरक्की के लिए ऐसे काम करना कि सभी जो हैं आगे बढ़ सकें और अपने भी ज़िंदगी में इंसानियत के भावनाओं को व्यक्त कर सकें। मुझे लगता है वही मेन लेगेसी। थैंक यू।
Thank you so much. Idram, thank you so much for coming over here. Could you come a little closer to the mic? Thank you so much for coming over here, Idram. In grim times like these, you know, where greed has kind of taken over, we need more people like Adamjee Peerbhoy. So if there's one thing that you would urge the youth of today to learn from this beautiful personality, what would that be?
Well, I think the fact that he had this vision and he was able to put his resources, his energies and his passion to be able to put that out and to create so many amazing structures, one of which is the Matheran railway, but there are several others, and he was able to get people together to be able to do this. That is a huge achievement, and it's extraordinary. It may seem like it's absolutely extraordinary for today's youth, but with small beginnings, as he has shown us, as the book tells us, at very, very humble beginnings, he has been able to do so much that we can still remember him. The other thing that I would really like to stress is that, which I said earlier, is that there is an erasure, and there is a very unfortunate erasure of
the legacies of people like Sir Adamjee Peerbhoy, and that erasure should not be allowed. So today's youth really have a responsibility, I think, to take that forward and to seek out these kind of histories very actively, the histories that they're not getting from their textbooks or the histories that they're not getting because it's just not available to them, to really seek these out because they need to know and they need to learn.
And taking Hussainji's words forward, since you're a journalist yourself, I mean, your opinion really matters. How would you like to urge the government of today to make people of today, the youth or anyone, all the individuals of today, make people aware about Adamjee Peerbhoy more and more?
I think the government really needs to put together some kind of institutional way of remembering him. Mr. Hussain has already talked about some efforts that he has put together, but and he's also tried to. But this is really a responsibility for the city of Bombay.
Yeah.
It's not just something that a family should put together, because it's really something that is beyond just one family. And it's important that the city and the administrators of the city come forward with ideas, with other people who are interested, with the family of course, and work out a way in which that legacy becomes a living heritage. It's not important, I mean, it's not necessary to have these dead heritages. We need to make those heritages alive.
Praying for the best. Thank you so much. Thank you.